Hello everyone, Takuya here, and welcome back to the History of Everything podcast YouTube channel. Before things begin, I just wanted to go ahead and say thank you. Thank you so very much for all the people who liked my previous video on Cleopatra, or rather, the reaction to the new Cleopatra trailer here from Netflix, which is very interesting, to say the least. But guys, it is true that there are so many things that are written and said about the last pharaoh of Egypt, Cleopatra VII. It is true also as well that history is written by the victor. So it is natural that we must take stories about individuals like this and the stories with a bit of a grain of salt, because we don't really know exactly what is truth and what is myth, barring of course what we can prove with archaeology. But in light of the recent controversy because of things with Netflix, I wanted to tell some of the real story of Cleopatra, some of the more fun facts about her. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. First on this list was the fact that she was a polyglot, one of the more common facts that people are probably aware of. A polyglot, for those of you who don't know, is someone who is capable of speaking multiple languages, as in addition to her native Greek, she was capable of speaking up to 9 different languages with at least some degree of fluency. This included things like Ethiopian, Aramaic, Syriac, Median, Parthian, Arabic, and possibly Latin, as well as the troglodyte language. Now, mind you, it is also possible that, just as in the case of a lot of polyglot YouTubers, the ones who go around and just speak to people in their language and it surprises them, which is a very common thing that you'll see on TikTok, that they more than likely just know phrases and how to respond to certain things rather than actually being fluent in the language. Even assuming that she was only fluent in even half of these languages is in and itself very impressive and would give her a massive advantage in terms of politics. And yes, I know that you're probably looking at me weird after I said troglodyte before, something that is used as an insult online, but there actually is a people that were called troglodytes, and a troglodyte language. These were cave dwellers that would sustain themselves off of their herds, and they would drink things like milk that was mixed with blood as a kind of sustenance. Really cool little detail there, actually. And Cleopatra could speak it. The other detail that is commonly told about her is that it is interesting that she, by her own choice, became fluent in Late Egyptian, which is the language that was spoken by her kingdom. Which you're probably gonna look at this and go, okay, well, for those who are uninitiated, why the hell was the Queen of Egypt, or King of Egypt, for years not actually able to speak Egyptian? And that, my friends, is because they didn't actually give a crap. Greek was the language of culture, of conquerors, of everything. That's where the power lay, not in Egyptian. So her actually learning Egyptian was a massive boost for her political popularity among her own people at this time. She is in fact the only Ptolemaic ruler out of 300 years of rule to learn the native language of the people she was in charge of. And that is just funny to me. The next little fun fact on our list is that there is an ancient papyrus scroll that states that Cleopatra specifically learned how to play the harp just so that she would have an advantage when she was trying to seduce Julius Caesar. Now, in the main versions of the story, Julius was always impressed by Cleopatra, and he would fall in love with her intelligence and her wit and just her natural ability and cunning. The fact that she was also very musically talented is only something that would have continued to improve her appeal. Eventually, these two would fall in love due to mutual respect, and Cleopatra would even bear him a son, Caesarion, who was born in 47 BC, though his story doesn't exactly end well, that being said. During this time, it was effectively an open secret that Cleopatra was the mistress of Julius Caesar, and it is also at this time, in 47 BC, that she would first meet Mark Antony. Mark Antony, after meeting her, would become infatuated with her, and this is something that she would use to her full advantage in her later years, when she would then turn around and seduce him after Caesar had an unfortunate stabbing accident. I say accident because, of course, Julius Caesar was unalived after taking 23 knife wounds in the back and turned into a human pincushion, something which I'm only going to show limited scenes of because of obvious issues here on YouTube. And so it was after her relationship with Caesar came to a very abrupt end that she understood that the value of relationships was the only thing that was going to be able to save her, and she needed another man in power. So, after he was turned into that human pincushion, then she would begin to seduce Mark Antony for years in order to make sure that he was loyal to her. I mean, it really was a losing battle for him. Cleopatra was literally claiming to be the embodiment of the Egyptian goddess Isis, the mother of everything. Every single entrance that she would make into a scene was like something straight out of a Broadway play. And let me give you a great example of that. She was so good at what she did that one of the things that she would do is douse her ship's sails with her own perfume, so that it was said that when the wind would hit the sails just right with a powerful gust, that the scent of Cleopatra would go to whoever was beating her. And in this case, if she was trying to make an entrance for Mark Antony, well, he could smell her coming from a mile away. Sexy. That, my friends, is some next level game if you are preparing for the long haul. In fact, Cleopatra was so focused on smelling better than just about anyone else that she would design her own fragrances. Archaeologists have discovered a perfume factory that was given to her by Mark Antony, and have actually tried to go and recreate her scent. Along with a gum resin named myrrh that originates from a type of tree that is in the Horn of Africa, other ingredients were found such as a mix of herbs, flower petals, leaves or seeds, cinnamon, and cardamom. This was then mixed with hot vegetable oil made from pressed olives, and the mixture was allowed to soak for a week, and then pressed through a cloth bag in order to extract the perfumed oil. This whole thing would give off a nice musky scent, something that has been compared to the Chanel 5 of ancient Egypt, so to speak. Also, her secret to healthy skin? Well, apparently it was bathing in warm donkey milk, which is not a phrase that I would expect to just say. Now, interestingly enough, just as a fun little detail, bathing in milk actually is something that can be helpful for you. You see, what happens is that when milk sours, the milk sugar lactose is converted by bacteria into lactic acid. When alpha hydroxy acids, such as lactic acids, are applied to skin, they cause the surface layer of skin to peel off, leaving smoother, blemish-free skin underneath. So it actually is something that would work. In addition to this, she would use henna as nail polish and would also use the powdered excrement of crocodiles to just apply, for her complexion, which is definitely not a method or tool that I think that I would want to use or actually get for my wife. Gabby, if you're watching this right now, please don't ask me to do that. Apparently, one of the details even goes that she tried to do things like cure Julius Caesar's baldness, or him, going bald, by applying a goo made of ground horse teeth and deer marrow. Either it just straight up didn't work, or it didn't work in time before, he ended up, as I said before, getting turned into a human pincushion. It's fine, though. It's not like he needed it at that point anyway. And as for our final fact about her in regards to her appearance, that would be her eye makeup. See, this was something that was made up of a combination of green copper malachite and black lead sulfide, which not only did it do something to improve her appearance and draw attention to her face, but simultaneously, the chemicals from this would do things like keep flies away, which is a really nice thing to have considering that bug spray isn't really a thing at this point. And that really is the end of today's video, but I will leave you with another fun fact, the fact that Cleopatra was actually closer to the moon landings than she was to the building of the pyramids in terms of the time that she was around, which, of course, that's one of the more common ones that is oftentimes repeated on the internet. But either way, I hope that a lot of this could have shed some really good light into Cleopatra and her history. I hope that you really enjoyed this video. I ask that you like, comment, and subscribe, and please continue to support my history content on this page. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you for your support of my channel, and I will see you all next time. Bye, everyone. Have a good rest of your day.